Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and today I'm going to be doing something different. I'm not going to be doing a makeup tutorial or a makeup review. Today I'm going to be doing a story time because essentially I'm experimenting with my channel right now so you guys can start getting to know me, and the story time is not clickbait. I don't like that stuff. I hate clickbait, and everything about me is going to be real. I will never steer you guys wrong, and I will always be honest, because that's one thing. If you guys know me, I am 100% completely honest, and if anybody tells you different, they are completely wrong. So before I begin, I am sorry if the lighting is completely off right now. I'm a little drunk because I just did a drunk makeup tutorial. I'm not sure if this is going up first or if that's going up first, but yeah, I'm a little tipsy. The lighting situation is kind of crazy. I've tried turning the lights completely off. I've tried turning them completely on. I've tried turning this light down. I've tried turning it off. Nothing seems to work, so please forgive me. So yes, you did click on this, and yes, I do have a kidnapping story that was completely scary. This is not clickbait, and this, honestly, I know a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about trauma situations that happen to them, but I'm a really open person. I like to share my personal experiences so that people can learn off of them. It's because maybe this can help younger girls that may watch this to be more careful, essentially, and maybe parents even to be more careful and watch over your kid, I guess. I don't know. So we'll get right into it. So around this time, I must have been around 12 years old. I'm not gonna lie, probably around, I don't really know what time, maybe 10 years old, maybe a little younger. I was very persistent on walking home from the bus stop. Now, I will insert right here, like, my development. And it won't really locate or give away anything on where I live, but I'm going to insert the development. So you'll see where the bus stop is. I'll encircle that in red, and I would want to walk home from there, and my house was about maybe 20 to 25 minutes away. And my mom at first was absolutely like, no, it is not happening. You are not walking by yourself. What do you think you are? You're crazy. And I was just persistent. Everyone else is doing it. Why can't I? Da 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 da. And finally my mom said, okay, fine. You're around that age, once I was around 12 years old. And all my friends would walk home, and that's what my mom would see. She would see there was around like 10 people that were walking home. But on certain days that was really crappy out, like snowy days, there was only me and like one or other person walking home. And again, my mom was a very busy person. She had 3 kids and she would have a lot of errands to run. She had a whole house to run. So some days she couldn't get me, and I again was very persistent on walking home. So I was walking home one day. It was really crappy out. It had just snowed, and it was kind of like the hail rain stuff going on, but it just stopped, and I was walking around. I'll show you a bend, because again, it is not going to show where I lived. So I'm walking around this bend, and this guy in a red pickup truck rolls up next to me. And so I'm walking up the road this way, and he's coming down the road this way. So he rolls up next to me, driver's side window is right next to me, and he's like, hey, do you need a ride? And I was like, no. I was kind of creeped out initially. I was extremely creeped out, not gonna lie. I'm a 12-year-old girl. I've never had something like this happen to me, and I've always heard my mom, she was always someone that told me about stranger danger, and I was initially just creeped out. I didn't want to deal with this, and I was like, yeah, no thanks, I'm good, I'm just gonna walk home by myself. And he was like, he kind of didn't seem too annoyed, but he was like, okay, and he kind of drove off, and I thought that would be the end of it, you know? So I'm just walking up this road, doing my thing, being myself. I'm listening to music, and this guy comes up behind me now. He's not coming from the opposite direction where I could see him. He's rolling up behind me, and I kind of hear a car kind of like coming up behind me slow. And I am thinking to myself, oh my god, what is this? I'm a person to get freaked out because I know real stuff happens in this world. I was never somebody who was put into a bubble. Thank God my mom did that to me. She kind of opened me up to the real world very fast, and I've always been someone who is very sketchy about those things. So I turned around and I see this car is just right behind me, and it's the same red pickup truck. And now I'm starting to get really nervous, guys. I'm by myself and I'm on a block of this road where it's all woods and there's no houses. And this guy rolls up next to me and he goes, "Get in the fucking truck now." And I was like, no, I was like, "Get the fuck away from me." And he just kind of got really pissed off. It was raining at this point now and I am freaking out, and he zooms off. I'm freaking out. I am cold. I am wet. It is crappy out. There's snow on the ground. It just stopped snowing this morning and now it's raining. This guy is harassing me. I just want to get home. And at this point, I'm practically running. And I have asthma. I was diagnosed with it. I have sports asthma and sports-induced asthma. And I'm running home and my lungs are killing me. And I'm just booking it. And at one point, I get to my road and I can't do it anymore. And there's these kind of split sections where my road is from. And what I essentially mean is, like, say my road goes down like this. In the middle of that road, there's a split section, intersection that goes up. And all the roads are split off that intersection. And I essentially get down to that point of my road. And my road is all the way at the end. I'm not going to explain it too much because I don't want to give the location where I used to live at all. So I'm down one of these roads and I'm getting to the intersection, and this guy in the red truck pulls out from the intersection. I am like right here and the intersection is here. He wraps around like this and starts to pull me into the car from, like, he was on the wheel and he like kind of opened the passenger door and like grabbed the hood of my jacket, and he grabbed my hood and started ripping me into the car. And I remember my butt touched the seat. I was in the car and I started screaming, and my dad, thank God, my dad was in our front yard raking, snowing. Yeah, it was snowing. My dad was, like, because we had a horseshoe driveway, my dad was at the one end of the driveway shoveling, and he heard this going on and he started losing it, and he was screaming my name and everything. I was screaming back to him because I heard him screaming my name, and this guy drops me out of the car. He gets scared, he drops me, and finally I'm like, okay, I'm good. I start booking it towards my dad. I just see clear sight of my dad, and that is my secure point, that is my safe blanket, and I'm just trying to get to him as fast as I can. And finally I got to him and he's like, "What the hell is going on?" And I tell him what happened, and my dad is not somebody to screw with by all means, and my dad immediately loses it, and he just silently walks to his car, puts a hammer into his trunk, gets into the car and leaves. And then my mom's coming out of the house and then I have to explain to her the situation. So while me and my mom are waiting around for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, this is what's going on with my dad. My dad gets into his car, he pulls off, and he's trying to track this guy down throughout the development. Finally, my dad tracks him down. Get this, guys. This guy, once he figured out he couldn't grab me, he went back to the bus stop to see if he could find someone else. And that's where my dad rolls up and finds this guy. And my dad gets out of the car. Mind you, before I tell you everything, this guy in my eyes was about 24 years old. He looked 24 or in his early 20s. So my dad rolls up and he parks the car behind his truck. He gets out, goes to his trunk, he dials 911 like my dad does because he's smart, and he's on the phone with the cops, and then he has the hammer in his hand just in case. This guy gets out of his car immediately and pulls a knife on my dad, and my dad luckily has the hammer on him, and my dad's like, to the cops, like I'm gonna hit him, I'm gonna wind up hitting him, I have to defend myself, what am I supposed to do? And like the cops are like, don't do anything, don't do anything. He's like, this guy has a knife to me, what am I supposed to do? And then finally, like when the guy figured out my dad was real and had the cops on the phone, I guess the guy ran and he fled. But apparently the cops were able to find out where this guy lived, and scarily enough, this guy lived like 3 blocks from me. And we wound up, this is like a whole situation that is like deadly true, that I had to go to courts with my dad and everything over this, because here's the wonderful part. The guy was 15 years old. He was 15, and apparently he stole his grandmother's truck and was driving around the development with it. So in my head, in my dad's head, this guy is in his 20s, and my dad is thinking he has to defend me, and he's going back to confront this guy, and little do we know he's 15 years old, not 24 years old, like we originally would have assumed. So we go to court. My dad's not in trouble at all. My dad didn't get in trouble for this. It was all on the guy. And the guy was pretty much getting charged with a bunch of stuff, and me and my dad went as witnesses. And the guy never even showed up to court. That's how guilty he was. He didn't even show up. And he apparently wound up getting put into a mental facility for I don't know how long. I think it was like 9 months to a year. And of course, I'm not downing that. Some people do need help, of course. But in this particular situation, it really didn't help this guy. This guy came out, so here's a continuance to the story. The story does get crazier, guys. So this guy comes out, and in my development, I used to, when I got older, I was probably 14 now. When I was 14, all me and my friends used to walk around the development because that was the fun thing to do. We didn't have anything to do. We didn't have cars or older people to drive us anywhere. So we just all got together in the summertime, and we would go explore abandoned buildings and, you know, do genuine kid stuff. I loved that period of my life. And I'm not gonna give any names away. We're just gonna call him Blake. So we're hanging out, we all have this big group of people, and then I meet this guy Blake. Blake seems like he's a really nice, genuine dude, okay? And we're all hanging out, and this must be like a month straight. We're all hanging out as a group of people. I'm hanging out with Blake, and he's like a real cool, genuine dude. I like him. He's a friend. He's someone that I can talk to, and I genuinely mean friend. When I was a little kid in the development I grew up in, the only people around me were a lot of guys, so I kind of grew up with a lot of guys, which I click with males over females genuinely, because that's pretty much who I was raised around, and that's pretty much my tendencies. Not to be like that chick, but that's just who I am. So I'm really like, this guy is like a really good friend of mine, and he's cool as hell, and he never rubs off on me as somebody who would be a pervert. He never flirted with me. He was always like, he knew his place. And I start finding out people are coming to me saying the most disgusting, awful things, and I finally put together who this person is. This guy essentially was saying to people that he wanted to R-word me, and if you don't know what that means, because I'm not going to say it, it is very triggering for some people. I just got over the word being triggering for me, so I'm not going to say it, but you can essentially assume what he wanted to do to me, and he was telling people this. And he was friends with this group of guys that I was really good friends with, and he said this to them, and they essentially all freaked out, and they were all brothers, and they were like, dude, that's not cool. What the hell is your deal? Get the hell away from us. You're a fucking weirdo. And yeah, so I essentially found out that it was the same guy who tried to kidnap me that I had been hanging out with for several months. And you would think, oh, you're stupid, like, how would you not know? The guy that tried to kidnap me was pretty much, he had bleached blonde hair, like he had bleached his hair. The guy that I was hanging out with had very dark hair and looked different because we were years older at that point. So he was 15 at the time, and then when we started hanging out, it must have been 2-3 years later, he must have been like 18. So he had matured and grown, and also his hair color was different and everything, and the way he dressed was different. So essentially I was completely thrown off guard, and I don't know, that was one of the scariest that was one of the scariest things that has happened to me, and definitely not the scariest, but one of the scariest. And I'm glad I'm okay, and I hope that maybe like parents and children can learn off of this. Like, children, I know that some things may seem so cool that your friends are doing, but trust me, sometimes it's not the greatest idea. And parents, don't cave into your children. We're just a bunch of jerks when we're young, and we just want everything to go our way. Don't listen to us. We don't know anything. You guys know better than we do. So that's pretty much the video of not clickbait, that I actually almost got kidnapped, and I was pretty much like in the grips of my kidnapper. And luckily, thank God, my dad was there. It's just overwhelming just thinking, like, if my dad wasn't there and if my dad didn't scream back to me, that guy would have ripped me in his car, and who knows where I would be right now. So thanks, Dad, and thanks everyone who just watched this. Subscribe to my channel if you like this. Let me know if you want more of this, and give me a like if you want more of this. I'm probably going to film a couple more videos right now, so if I look like I'm in the same outfit and in the same makeup the next couple videos, it's because I'm pre-recording stuff just to make sure that I can put content out for you guys if you do enjoy this. So, bye guys!